Recently, there have been signs of life from the Disney Star Wars franchise. And what I mean by signs of life is that Disney, they finally have conceded that they're losing money. You can tell that from things like the nostalgic merchandising that they've gone to after saying they're not going to return to that. You can go to Walmart's and you can see things like Jabba Skiff. You can go out and you can see things like Jabba Playset. Those things are taking over versus the new toys that don't sell. You also see certain firings going on, with Game of Thrones director being pushed to the side because, well, nobody wanted a trilogy from those folks. And now there's this. Star Wars officially on Disney hiatus after Rise of Skywalker. Wow. Interesting, huh? Interesting indeed. So hey there. So today I want to return to that wonderful world of train wrecks. And nothing has quite said train wreck like Disney having control over Star Wars. Now before we get into this, if you like this kind of content, make sure you're subbed to the channel. You like this video? Well, share it out because sharing is caring. You know the drill by now. Also, if you want to help out the channel, if you love That Umbrella Guy a little bit more than that, well, make sure that you check out the links in the description. One of those is our comic book. It closes in November, and it offers an alternative to, well, Disney-controlled comic books that they disrespect and denigrate. They do the same things that pretty much the Star Wars franchise is managed. So speaking of Star Wars here, you can see articles coming out where you have Disney saying that Star Wars is officially going to be on hiatus after this next movie. Disney CEO Bob Iger has reportedly confirmed that Star Wars movies will go on hiatus after this year's release of The Rise of Skywalker. A slowdown for the franchise has been discussed for some time now after 2018's underperformance of Solo, A Star Wars Story, and the polarized reaction to Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now Disney is apparently going to make that official. It's about time. I have to say, it is about time. Looking at that thing again, they thought they had a license to print money, and they did. But what they needed to do is stay with something somewhat formulaic. And I'm not talking about the Disney formulaic. I'm not going out and saying insert a specific brand of politic and think that's going to work out for the best. Oh no, what I'm talking about formulaic is a little bit different. It's called remembering what your fans want. And when I say fan, see, they look at that like a dirty word, but really, fandom equals consumer. Don't think that you have billions of extra consumers laying around either, because you know what, Disney? You don't. You don't. That's what people need to wake up to. If you don't respect people, they're going to walk away. But continuing with this, after Disney acquired Lucasfilm, the studio revealed ambitious plans for the Star Wars universe. In addition to adding 3 more films to the Skywalker saga, Disney hoped to expand the franchise by releasing spin-off standalone films. The first, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, was a success, but Solo's poor reception forced the creatives behind the franchise to consider a new approach. Now, what they need to ask there is, why did one fail and one didn't? Is it burnout? I mean, possibly, yeah, there's some burnout there too. But what else is motivating people not to show up? When you think about Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, think about what type of movie it was. It wasn't by the numbers when it came to Disney. In fact, Disney hated that movie. They went in, they gave it extensive rewrites, extensive reshoots, because what we had there was a movie that, yes, it might actually appeal to families, but really what it was is apocalypse now in space. That's what it was intended to be. It had stake in it. It had something that spoke to that old fandom that had been around. It was speaking to the adults that were in the room, that were kids when it all started out. Now compare that with Solo, a formulaic Disney approach, if I've ever seen one, where you take the nostalgia out of characters, you take everything and you basically make people not want to buy it, inserting all types of elements that, well, ruins the escapism of something. I mean, sure, they want to bring it into current year and they want to get those media applause, but you know what? Media applause do not denote ticket sales, and they definitely do not move merchandise. I mean, imagine telling your child, hey, you want to buy this Lando character? Did you know he likes to get down with the droids? You want to buy that now, kids? You want to buy that now, indeed? Fun times, huh? Fun times. They then go on to tell us how Rise of Skywalker is expected to be a major box office smash with pre-sales already breaking records, and yeah, it could indeed be. I mean, you're talking about folks that have been in for the long haul. You're talking about a Star Wars brand that, well, it's on its third iteration of this major franchise, and people, they have gotten to this point that they have lackluster expectations. So the reality is, if you bring them a lukewarm milquetoast product, they would be happy. I mean, that is upsetting to say about Star Wars, but that's the reality of it. Now, what's fascinating about this Bob Iger statement is it's a two-pronged statement. The first one is what the media is actually representing, and it makes it sound like Bob Iger and Disney have actually learned some type of lesson. If you have noticed anything about Disney by now, however, they don't learn lessons. They think that they teach lessons, but they never ever learn. So let's break this down, and you can see exactly where it all goes horribly awry. Disney CEO Bob Iger says Star Wars feature films will go into a hiatus following Rise of Skywalker. All right, sounds good, right? Says there will be lots of activity on the TV front. Mentions 3 series is in work for Disney+. Oh, wait a minute. So all of this stuff is really a venue shift. You want to leave on something that you can call a high mark. You can say this is going to be the last of. So people will pick that up and they might actually attend, saying this is going to wrap things up. But what you're not reporting in there is the second portion of it, the portion that Disney has failed at time and time again. You only need to look at 2017 Disney to really get an example of this. I mean, this is a traded commodity, as in a publicly traded commodity, and you can look up how well they do in the TV front. Now, they haven't done in-demand before, but if you look up their cable noise, oh man, that cable noise, it's nothing but static. You know why that is, too? It's because like any other Disney product, they turn it into a pulpit. They masquerade it as something, like say ESPN, for example. They masqueraded that as sports, but the reality to ESPN was it became anything but sports. It became about shows that would talk about ists and phobes. It would talk about all of these things that don't resonate with audiences, just like Star Wars. Interesting, isn't that? So when we continue on with this article, they talk about we're going to get The Mandalorian, and I know that a lot of people are excited about it. I'm curious about it. I don't know if I'm excited about it, but I am definitely curious about it. And it notes that early reactions to the series have been favorable. Yeah, a lot of people have actually been excited about that too. And why wouldn't they be? You're talking about fan favorites finally coming out, but if this flops, the reversal of that, people will give up and they'll give up forever. And a second season has already been ordered, they noted. So, you not only have that, but we'll wait and see. Now, if they order something and it actually flops, it won't matter. I imagine they're going to have one heck of a turnout at the beginning, but then we'll see. We'll definitely see within that. Fans were also thrilled by the announcement that Ewan McGregor will reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the new series. Plus, the streamer will feature a new season of the animated show Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Now that, it might actually put people in front of their TVs, so that would be interesting. Now, they continue and finish this up. Let's just go through this. In short, Star Wars fans will not be left wanting in between feature films, as it seems Disney is going all in for the Star Wars television shows. News of a hiatus comes shortly after the planned trilogy from Game of Thrones creators was suddenly canceled. Previously, Johnson was attached to a new trilogy. Marvel's Kevin, you notice that guy there, was also in talks to produce a film. After all of this, Disney's plans for future movies is more unclear than ever. That being said, Star Wars is still a highly profitable franchise, so Disney will will almost certainly produce more movies at some point in the future. However, a slowdown may be a smart choice. Some fans are wary of Disney's approach toward a galaxy far, far away, and the reactions to recent films suggest Disney needs to take a step back before rushing into another trilogy. When The Force Awakens was released, it was a momentous cultural event. In order to recapture and hold on to that magic, Star Wars films may need to remain infrequent. No, what they need to do is remain true to what Star Wars should be. Remain true to the audience that was captured back in the 70s, that stayed with it through the 80s, that actually picked up in the aughts, and was excited when it came back. Those people, they teach other people to love something, and they'll teach them to revile it as well. That's what these folks, they'll never understand. You need to get back to the basics. Maybe the TV move could actually do that. I don't have any hope for Disney, but maybe you do. I don't know. Tell me what you think about this stuff here. Is it just a way to obfuscate the message, to go out and try to grab money for this last movie before they put out more movies? I mean, what exactly do you think's here? I also want to thank you for showing up. Thank you for participating in this. Places like Disney, they forget exactly who empowers endeavors. I say this at the end of every video these days. That's you. If people don't thank you, if they don't appreciate you being there, that's okay. You can go elsewhere because you know what? There are plenty of products to be had. So anyhow, leave your comments, pro and con. Check out those links like we talked about. Sub, all of that beautiful stuff. And remember, that Umbrella Guy loves you. And we'll be back soon. Thank you.